Hi, in this episode I'll be talking to Clare Dutton. Not only is she a PADI course director, but she's the operator of Vivian Dive Centre in North Wales and a firefighter. Over a brew and with plenty of laughs, she talks about how at only 24 she became one of the youngest ever PADI course directors and soon took on the mammoth task of operating her own dive site. Do you fancy a brew? Hooray!
I think that's it.
Happy days.
I know, I feel like I should be saying, can you hear me? Or...
Testing. Right, I can't find my page. I have genuinely done a load of research. Can't find it. So you're off the hook now. You can just say whatever you want and I won't even know if it's true.
That's good. Okay, so...
How's your day been? Busy?
Yeah. So
Diving again?
It's really good, yeah. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? Open water.
Nice one.
Yeah, that's good. What about you?
Work. Just normal work for me. I don't know if you've watched any of the other ones that I've done, but...
I did. I have actually
Really?
watched
Nice
so...
Go on then. Which one?
I watched the Frog Fish Photography one the other day.
Nice one.
So, yeah.
I can't kind of work out why some are perhaps better than others. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully mine won't be like 0 ratings.
Well, I'll just tell you, you've hit the top straight away and we'll see how we get on.
So, yeah, thanks for that.
So it's just literally, it's supposed to just be a chat over a brew or a gin, or I've even brought myself a beer because I sit up here that long, it gets so warm and I thought, it's summer, it should be fancy a beer, not fancy a brew. But,
I have actually got tea anyway, because like in true fire service tradition, I'd be a terrible
I love it. Is
your
Wi-Fi rubbish or what?
Yeah, I do live in Wales, so...
Well...
yeah.
you've actually got the pleasure, maybe, I don't know, we'll see, of being the only person to have been featured on my YouTube channel twice now. Because obviously I met you at Go Dive 2020 where you helped me out doing how to plan an expedition, and you were the only person that I had good sound for because everyone else I just forgot.
I tampered with everyone else's, so
well, that was it. It was terrible. So, welcome to my podcast. Hope you've had a good day diving. Clare Dutton, give us a little bit of a breakdown about who you are, and let's see how we get on.
So I am Clare Dutton, as you said. I have Duttons Divers, a very original name of Duttons Divers there. And also Vivian Quarry now, since we moved there 5 years ago. So I've been instructor for 10 years, I'm a PADI course director, and also just in my so-called free time, a firefighter as well in Lancashire, which hence my combination of accent.
I was going to say your awesome accent.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, so you are from the greatest county in England. What made you move over to God's country?
Yeah, I did live in Lancashire for like 9 years. So I'm from Cheshire originally, though.
Oh, so yeah, you're a Scouser.
No.
Kinda.
And then so I've lived in Wales for 5 years now. So yeah, and then moved to Anglesey last year, which isn't the worst place in the world to be. So
what came first? Was it firefighting or diving?
Yeah, I got into the fire service when I was 18, and I actually did my instructors like when I was just before I was 19, so pretty similar. So yeah, I was quite lucky really that at 18 I kind of got to do both of the kind of dream jobs that I'd always wanted to do. So like I'd always wanted to be a firefighter. I did a try dive. I might be going off on a tangent.
Do it. Just go for it. Go as wild as you possibly can, and I'll try and rein it back in.
But I did a try dive. I actually went on holiday to kind of celebrate getting in the fire service and did a try dive in Cuba.
Where?
In Cuba.
Oh my god. Everyone who comes on here has had a better first dive than me.
But I actually came back to the UK and I learned everything through there. So all of my diving, like courses and everything, has been in the UK. So.
Right.
So
where did you discover your love for tea? Was it through the fire service, or have you been always on the brown brew like me?
Kind of like a mandatory like prerequisite for being a firefighter. So I am actually a massive coffee drinker as well. But
see, I can't get into coffee. I love the smell of it, I had this conversation with Sarah from Girls at Scuba last week because she's called Coffee Then Travel, and it smells amazing, but I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's got to be like certain types of coffee though. I'm a bit
Are you a
fussy.
proper coffee snob?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I never used to be, but I don't know. Tea's different, isn't it? You could get like any tea bag.
No, see, Ali's mum, they live over in Lincolnshire somewhere, like near Grimsby. But don't tell her mum that because we don't live near Grimsby. I best cut this out. But they've got really like hard water, so they get that Yorkshire tea gold, and it's proper Esther Ranson tackle, you know. Oh. Whereas, get a good PG tips or a Tetley down, yeah. Bob on
it's
that.
got to be a big cup of tea though. You can't have like
a proper awesome mug, yeah. So, is the fire service all just hanging around doing weights, drinking brews, and sleeping, or do you actually like graft in between jobs?
We do graft in between jobs. So yeah, we don't really sit around doing the whole pool table thing to shatter your illusion of that. So our fire station's not even got a fire pole either now. It's all like one floor. So
is that because it's too dangerous? One floor. Yeah, there's no need. Yeah.
Like ours is just it's just one floor. So, but our station is so I work at Darwin Fire Station. With some contacts there. But our fire station's Swift Water Rescue, so we do a lot of like water rescue stuff as well.
I seen you pulled a horse out the other day, didn't you?
So yeah, we do large animal stuff as well. So
that was when I was doing my research. I promise you, I did some. Just because I can't find it, I definitely did some.
We get quite a lot of like horses and things like that as well. So yeah, so it kind of ties in a little bit with.
So not so much the most gory, but what's the best rescue you've ever done? That you can tell about. Like let's have like some like confidential kind of stuff. Okay, I'll breeze straight over that. So dragging the horse out must have been good.
Yeah, it's good. Like I love my job for that as well. Yeah. So I'm a massive like animal fan as well. So it's quite nice going and have people's animals and stuff, and they're completely devastated like about like dogs, cats.
So you don't go getting cat. I was gonna say cats out of trees.
Yeah, we actually had a squirrel a couple of weeks ago as well.
Really?
A squirrel with a lamppost. So I'll have that as like my rescue of the year. So.
Wow. See, I'm shocked at how squirrels can climb stuff. I mean, clearly they go up a tree that's quite vertical, but because of what I do for a living, being a pest controller, I was shocked. This one particular house, there was no way that it had anything in the loft. I couldn't see anything. And then all of a sudden, we seen this squirrel run along the fence and then scale this sheer wall, just a brick wall.
I have images of you running after a squirrel now.
So. Hell like that, trying to climb up the wall. Yeah, it didn't work very well. So at 24, you became a PADI course director, didn't you?
I did.
So that's a pretty big like mountain to have climbed.
Yeah.
If only at 18 was your first try dive, 6 years.
Yeah, like I try not to kind of like brag about being like.
Do it. Just get all over bragging rights now, because I can't brag about that.
I say like I was really lucky and fortunate that I applied for the course and I got it kind of the first time that I'd applied, which was really good. And being 24 as a course director was pretty amazing as well. And again, like you said, from doing instructor when I was 18. Between that, so yeah, and then the course director course, which is probably one of the most amazing things that I've done, of going abroad and being just in a room with people from all over the world, to learn about teaching other people to do the thing that I'd loved doing the past years before that. So and I don't know, it's kind of good. I kind of like to think that people are encouraged into getting into diving and thinking that they want to do instructing and stuff and can do it at a young age as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for me, the dive industry is like completely changing since I started in a good way. There's a lot of, not saying like the older ones.
Say it. Just don't be shy. Just say it. There's a load of old crusties that teach.
There's not.
No, I'm
really
joking.
It's just nice that there's a lot of younger people coming into diving, just for the whole like changing dynamic and stuff like that. Like with the actual technology in diving, even since I've started, has changed so much over the years. So it's nice to see different people come through as well and do what they want to do.
What's involved in being a course director then? Because obviously I've not done any PADI training at all. I don't really know, other than open water, advanced open water, and so on. I don't
Yeah.
really know the tiers and increments.
So so you kind of know like up to dive master,
Yeah.
maybe, and the course director course. So after you've done your open water instructor, there's a load of different having to certify so many people in different things, all different levels of courses, putting a business plan together, which I think is a pretty awesome business plan of Vivian. Like you dive Vivian the other day, so it's not a bad place to have as an office. So
not at all. It's I've got to say, it's in a pretty nice place, that.
It's not so bad, is it? So it just needs to stop raining, and then it'd be ideal.
But it's on the fringe of Snowdonia. It's never going to stop raining for long, is it?
Yeah, but on a sunny day, it is pretty amazing. I sort of like the beaches and the shoreline, the coastline around here. Pretty amazing. So there's basically people from everywhere over the world, which is really strange. We had so every table has like a translator on there. For me, it's probably the time when I kind of realised how worldwide diving is, and how it actually does bring everyone together. Like I don't speak. The people that are on my table were from France, from all over the world. I don't speak French. I don't speak Spanish, anything like that. And talking to people through a translator all day, and then when you're in the water, of then being able to communicate and literally have a conversation without like realizing. It's just amazing how you can communicate under the water, and you can be from anywhere in the world, which it is probably one of the most amazing things that I've done on that.
Sounds like the UN for scuba diving.
It's good. Plus it's in like the Dominican Republic, so you can't really complain at that either. So,
no. So what do you do with that? So that effectively sets you up to to run a dive site, does it, or a dive school, or?
No, so like with the course director course, I can teach people instructor course as well. So
right.
Which is why I wanted to do it. I think, like for me, I still love teaching Discover Scuba Dives and doing open water courses, and I do still teach all of those levels as well. But teaching people to come on an instructor course and do what I've got to do, it's really nice for me having people come back and either do work for us or seeing them turn up at the dive centre and teaching their own students.
Yeah.
And being excited about doing it and passing it on. Like, it's really good. So, yeah. I might start crying now. Like,
as long as you don't start giving me a little Cinderella story about how hard it's been during COVID. But that nicely segues me straight in. How have you found COVID? As in the lockdown period? Because obviously Wales has dragged out a lot longer than we have, hasn't it? As in over in England.
So, and unfortunately, Wales kind of runs off tourism, so it's been really quiet. It's a really weird time. I think it's been weird for everybody anyway. But to go from having, like, I don't really have a day off of doing fire service and then running the business as well. It's been strange having free time to do stuff.
Have you got on top of like all your admin that you needed to everyone puts off for a bit and then?
Yeah, well, that was the thing though. It was really weird because we have like at this over winter, we still run through winter, so we run all the way through the year anyway.
Yeah.
But we also do all of the equipment servicing pretty much just before March.
Right.
And do up all the dive centre and everything. So we just kind of like got everything done, ready to start back up again for like the busy season. And then we're told that you can't open. So, I think everyone's been really supportive over it though, which is good. And again, like I'm hoping that if people aren't travelling abroad and things like that, it might make people dive in the UK, and not necessarily just for us as a dive centre, but for the UK dive industry. Hopefully, if there's a positive to come out of COVID, it's going to be that people actually see what's on the doorstep instead. Doing dry suit courses and that kind of thing as well, and just seeing what we've got. So we'll see.
What sort of measures have you had to put in place for you at the dive centre?
You should know. You should have been doing them for the day.
Listen, I'm interviewing you here. I'm not here to talk. I'm here to listen and pretend to be interested. I am genuinely interested.
So, like, I guess a lot of the things that we've been doing anyway. I like to think that cleaning equipment wasn't something new to dive centres. So yeah, so we've done like a lot of the stuff. Like again, going like back to like the fire service thing as well. Like I'm quite fortunate that from working through it and those kind of procedures that we do anyway, of like decontamination, all that kind of stuff, I kind of just adopted it into the dive centre. So that's worked really well. But yeah, so cleaning stuff, small groups, like taking part in like track and trace program. So spraying your hands with alcohol gel, all that kind of stuff. But everyone's been quite supportive over it. And realistically, we've only ever really taken small groups anyway. That's kind of been like one of our things at Vivian, which I'm quite proud of, that we stick to small groups so that the training's more personal, or the dive guiding's more personal. Makes people feel a little bit more relaxed. It's a more like person-centered approach to it. So really, like with reducing numbers, it's been pretty much the same in that way anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like most people are supportive over it and understands that it takes a little bit longer for people having to book online to dive at Vivian and that kind of thing as well. But
I think the big thing with the booking online, and because we were supposed to dive on Sunday, this is a big admission now. I forgot to let them know I wasn't going.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm not, perhaps because I'm not used to doing that. I was supposed to be taking a lad in, finishing off his ocean diver course. He just needed to literally analyse his gas and go and take me on a dive. That was it, you know. And he ended up having his grandkids, so he cancelled on Saturday night. And it was kind of like, get in. I really needed a day off. I had so much, all my stuff was still at the back of the van from Friday when we got back from Anglesey. But I completely forgot to let the dive centre know that I wasn't going, because I'm so not used to. And it's not because I don't care. I really do. I just forgot.
You're a really disorganised person, is what you're trying to say.
She says after letting me down last week. But I tell you what I did notice when I was at your place on Friday is there was quite an obvious gap between people getting in. And we were quite conscious of that on purpose, I think, and in a good way, I mean. You know, so the first couple went in, and there was kind of an obvious sort of maybe 20-minute gap before anybody else went forward to get in, which I think is great, because we've got to keep this distance, so why not give everyone a bit of distance before they get in?
I guess as well it kind of stops people rushing out. I like to think people don't rush to get in anyway, but it kind of gives people more time to do stuff that way as well. I don't know, it's strange. It's just one of those things that people get used to, like being in supermarkets and everything.
Well, you'd say that, but when Ali goes shopping, she wears gloves and a mask and that, because people just don't seem to care anymore. They just glance straight past you, or walk straight past you, and you're like, hang on a minute, just how about just keep away for a bit?
I think people, now that they've like opened up, and we had that kind of problem with obviously with Wales deciding that places weren't open. People were then contacting us that, I've been to Cape and Ray, so why aren't you open?
Yeah, because you weren't allowed to till last Monday, were you?
But we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, we've still been taking course bookings now, which is really good. It's also strange that there's less of us working at the dive centre at the moment. So,
well, I've tried to get on with. Do you know Aubrey Diggle that's up at Triada Bay? Well, around sort of Holyhead. He's got the big black boat, the Interceptor.
All right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Diggsy, they call him. He's like one of our guys, whatever. We were supposed to.
We were throw in our boat there as well, like little Viv. So there's like a.
You've got your own boat.
Yeah, you've researched us, and clearly you haven't.
I did a bit of research. I'm here to listen to you tell me. So in your introduction, we have a dive boat as well. So when are we going out on a trip then? Is my next question.
Well, now that you didn't even know about it.
No, but we were supposed to be out with him on Saturday. One of the lads organised it, so do you know what I mean? And it obviously got cancelled because he wasn't allowed to go out until Monday, obviously today. So I've rung him to try and get out if he was going out this weekend. And because of the numbers he can take on a boat, he just does tours, like scenic tours around Puffin Island and whatever. So he's not even taking any dive trips. So as far as I was aware, I have no boat to get on. However, I've just met you again.
Although we, at the moment, won't be taking the boat out for things. So Yeah, hopefully that changes pretty soon. But I'm kind of shocked you didn't know we had a boat now. So
It was on my notes. I've just not got him, have
yeah.
I?
So our boat's called Little Viv. So
That's great.
again, like I'm really good at coming up with names like Dutton Divers, wherever that came from, and Little Viv.
How do you balance being a firefighter? Are you like a reservist now or a retained one? I don't know what's the term now, or are you still full time and you do 4 on, 4 off? How does it work?
No, yeah, I'm still full time. The station I work at, day crew plus we can like self roster, so we work so many shifts in a month, and then have time off in between, which works out really well because I'm playing IDCs, which are a week long course and stuff like that. So yeah, it kind of both works. The kind of see, you said about not giving too much away, so yeah, there may be like certain expansion opportunities with like Vivian and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I kind of said that I'd do the fire service and diving for as long as I kind of fit them both in.
Yeah.
I still enjoy them both, and whilst I still enjoy them both, I'll still do them both.
That's good, isn't it?
So yeah, I still love diving probably more.
So how'd you manage that commute though? It must be like 3 hours to Darwin for you, that.
It's 2 hours, so yeah, it's not so bad. It's alright.
Do you go a different route than I go? Because do you live on Anglesey now?
Yeah.
So it takes me. I live in Wigan, right? So it takes me 2.5 hours to get to Rossniger.
Maybe you're just really slow. So.
What? Vivian, as in your car, is really slow.
No, it's in your car if it's taking you 3 hours.
Well, to be fair, I'm in a big van, aren't I? So I can't like hoofing it round as though I like stole it and that.
Yeah, that's true. But it is definitely 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's actually exactly 2 hours to get there. So.
I need to revisit that route map. There must be.
Yeah, I'll send you it on Google Maps.
Speaking of which, you promised me something on Friday which you didn't come through with. Do you remember what that was?
I feel like I should, but no.
That's terrible. It's like me having no notes in it. So yeah, anyway, so you went diving on Thursday at a shore dive up somewhere.
Oh
north,
yeah, I was supposed to send you the postcode. However, in my defence, you had gone by the time I got out teaching.
Well, it's rude, isn't it? We're not taught on your instructor course. Don't interrupt an instructor. Don't make them look a knob.
Yeah, but you can't just disappear and then.
Well, I did say goodbye. Definitely say goodbye.
Definitely did not say bye. So, because I was going to message you and say that.
Yeah. So where was it? Was it Port Dafak? Is that how you pronounce it?
I used to go to Newry Beach at Holyhead.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Which we went there actually yesterday.
We're going to try and head up there again on Saturday. Ali's on call Friday and Sunday, but not Saturday because we had something else booked. So we're going to try and head up over to Anglesey, I think. On
there's loads of dogfish around there at the moment.
Really there was tons in on Friday.
Yeah.
But we went. It was exactly a year because it came up on my Facebook timeline, I think, when we were there last year, and there was loads more sort of, the gooseberry anemones. No, gooseberry Indian anemones that are floating around and it's just sort of all shiny and whatnot.
All right, okay.
Sea hares, loads of them southpaw flipping crabs, or whatever you call them. The ones that hermit crabs. That's the ones.
Spider crabs around at the minute as well.
Well, there was honestly none. It was just lobsters and then cat sharks and that. Is it a cat shark? Is it a dogfish? Is it a smooth hound? What's it called?
You can call it whatever you want.
Cod. I'll call it a cod.
Baby shark. We can call it that.
And don't.
I've put it in your head.
So when I do my little thumbnail for this, it's going to be baby shark.
Yeah, I feel like I should start going.
Oh, don't! It's horrendous, that song. I'll tell you what, there's going to be so much editing, and there's going to be about 20 minutes left of edit. So, how did you come to get hold of Vivian? If you can tell me?
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out that part. I'm not too sure. I started out from. In fact, did you watch my talk at the dive show?
I did.
I'll do that. Okay, so. Yeah.
Listen, this is not just a chat between me and you. This is for the audience. Okay,
all right. So people can watch that on our Facebook page. I can divert them across that. Yeah. It's kind of weird how I kind of started out doing it. It all kind of happened. There was a plan in it. It just everything just kind of fell into place. did my instructor course, and then I was doing some work with somebody, and then decided that I wanted to freelance with it. So got a trailer which I travelled down to London to go and get, and built a shed in my mum's garden for all of the equipment. And basically, whilst I was living at home, used her house, the bathroom as a drying room. So I'd like kind of invested in 5 sets of full kit so I could teach, and with dry suits and everything like that. So I went into NatWest, got a loan, and to pay for all of that, and then travelled around doing it at different places, the Delft, Cape and Ray, stuff like that, predominantly over your way.
Yeah.
And then started coming over, realising that people didn't really go from quarries to shore dive sites. When I kind of figured that from looking at people when I was teaching, for whatever reason, got in touch with them about how much off-site diving that they'd done at different places, and nobody had, which kind of saddened me a little bit that nobody did go out to places. So we started offering guided dives to come over here in Wales, which then were really good, and teaching courses when we could in the sea, rather than doing them at inland dive sites. And then I'm sure we ended up not diving in the sea one day, so we ended up going to Vivian. And then, yeah, I loved it there. And then since then, we ended up just travelling to go to Wales to do shore dive sites. We used a campsite, so ended up in being like weekends away, which were really good, and having like barbecues and everything with all customers. And yeah, still carry on doing Vivian. And then I always joked with the old owner about, if you ever decide to get rid of Vivian, make sure you give us a shout. And then he messaged me one day telling me that he didn't want it anymore. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. I even remember where I was. Like, I was at the gym at the time and got the message. I was like, oh, why not? So so it was at the same time that my mum she hated a job anyway. Who you saw, Jean, the other day, who was there.
Get out, that's not your mum.
Yeah, did you say your message? Mummy does tell you that, so.
I tell you what, she's doing alright if she's your mum.
Yeah.
You've got some alright genes there.
Podcaster, isn't she? So.
Hey, no, I thought she was your daughter.
Oh, right.
I'm joking.
Yes, my mum.
No way.
Like she's always in the office and stuff. Being outdoors, and I think, she ended up taking redundancy on it at her job, and then kind of persuaded her that we should do this with Vivian, and got a boat. I mean, so she's already a boat skipper anyway.
Yeah.
And she did equipment servicing. So yeah, it kind of all fell into place, which is pretty cool. Like, I get to work with my mum as well. So and I've got a really good relationship with her, which is, like, for me, really good. And yeah, I could think of nothing better to do than that. I get to work with my friends at the dive centre, and get to take out people doing that. So yeah, it's one of probably the best choice that I ever decided to do.
I tell you what, I wish I'd been taking notes. I'm too busy listening, because it's quite a cool story, that, to be fair. I work with my daughter, and no, genuinely, I work with my daughter, and I've got a much better relationship with her for that, because she's 21 and I've just turned 40. She wouldn't want anything to do with me other than, Sunday lunch and a bit of bank of dad every now and again, wouldn't it? She does, but because she works with me, we've developed more of a friendship, which I feel really lucky for when I look at my relationship with my parents. So you're definitely sort of well lucky there. But to take that initial loan out to get 5 sets of kit on a wing and a pro, and hopefully it works, that's quite a flipping loan, that, isn't it? Because there's probably £1,000 in a set of kit, and then to go travelling around and try and make it work.
I don't even know why. I kind of I think I just kind of, I wanted to do different stuff to what the people were that I was doing things with. And just thought, you know what, I'll just do it myself and see. But I always like telling that story, though, of that, and not because it's about me, and especially like at the dive shows and stuff, of just to try and encourage younger people to do stuff. And there's so many people that turn around and that have either done an instructor course, not really done anything with it, or think, oh, like diving's really expensive. There's no money in diving. One of my hated phrases that's there. And try and encourage people that you don't actually need a lot of stuff to do it. No. And if you want to do it, go and do it. Yeah, and people are always welcome to drop us an email and stuff because, yeah, I think the diving industry should be supportive of people wanting to kind of make a break into diving and things. So, yeah.
I did like the bit where you said how sort of people will do their initial course, regardless of which sort of agency, I guess, because I'll agree with this massively here. But as I flew through my courses, there was certainly, as I got to sort of dive leader level, you had to then go and do experience dives, and it was a number of them. It wasn't just one night dive, one bad viz. It was like so many from a boat, so many at depth, so many at this, so many at that, and it had to be. Yeah. Otherwise, you would never achieve that. So for me, it's no harder, really, to go and plan a shore dive than it is to go and dive Eki Delft. Yeah, it's a bit more work, but it's not harder because... Yeah. And it grinds my gears, honestly, it does. Boils my piss when I see someone saying, oh, I've done 600 dives. And all they've done is gone round the ropeway at Eki Delft.
Yeah, 600 times. Yeah, there's always going to be, like, obviously, I love Vivian, but it's great for training, it's great for exploring, it's an amazing site for, like, history in the Wales. And, yeah, for the fact of it being a slate mine, and if you go and take a walk around... all the slate houses and stuff at the top, and think about all of like the quarry hospital and all of the stuff that actually happened there. It's amazing. But we dive to go out in the sea and do stuff, and yeah, that was one of the reasons that we started doing like the guided dives and stuff like that. Yeah. The main reason, because people just aren't, and I think we have this horrible habit in the UK that we do go to inland sites because it's easier, and I don't know if it's a British thing that we think that we kind of... I always try and talk about it as in, like, not every couple dive. Like, I imagine that you feel quite lucky that both of you dive together.
Oh, yeah. Our relationship is 100% better because we do stuff together.
Yeah, yeah. So, for the people that aren't in that kind of bracket and they just dive on their own, then it's kind of a thing that they have to go and do. Like, if somebody was doing football training, they know that on Wednesday night for 2 hours you're going to disappear and do that. I think diving kind of sometimes falls in that bracket as well of, oh, well, someday we're going to go to wherever from 10 till whatever and I'll be back at this time. Yeah. Shore diving doesn't really allow you that option with tides and things and travel sometimes. So I don't know, so maybe that's why some people don't. But it is great when people do come along and do that now. Or even nerves, because if people have just been trained in doing that, we try and on the open water courses and the advanced courses especially do some days where, so at the end of it they have the option of going out and doing a shore dive just to get them to go in the sea. I kind of got the impression that when people don't do that, they don't go into the sea because it's big and scary and we don't really know what we're doing in it. So if there isn't the opportunity for people to either have a guided dive or meet somebody that does dive in the sea, they're never really going to. But it's experience, and it improves people's experience by doing that. Rescue courses, so we run the rescue course and then we put on a day each month to do like scenarios. So we'd run them at different bays and put a scenario together. Right. So that people can come and have a go at that. But like it's kind of more of a realistic scenario. Of going to a shore dive site, having to search for somebody in like small currents and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, I went on a massive tangent there. Then.
No, that's what I want because.
But people should go and see. It's the ultimate bottom line thing of that.
Honestly, I'm sick of hearing though about how bad. I'm going to pick on the Delft because it's two minutes from our house, but I mean this in a positive light. I'm sick of hearing people saying, "Oh, the viz is crap" and this, that, and the other. Now, most inland sites at this time of year are going to be pretty bad because they've got an algae bloom, won't they?
Yeah, we get an algae bloom, yeah. So everywhere does.
So for me, to have learned in Eki Delft, my ocean diver course, and then literally 2 weeks after I finished that, I flew out to Fuerteventura to do my sport diver course, where the viz was fantastic. But I was quite nervous, believe it or not, in open water that was so vast like that at depth. That a lot of my fears were sort of reduced because I'd gone in this open water at Delft because it was green. I couldn't see somebody's fin tips 3 feet in front of me. So because I got used to that, and we'd done a couple of dives together, just me and her, as after we qualified, it made that sea dive, which was pretty much one of my biggest fears at the time, easier.
Yeah.
So I think you're quite fortunate to have an inland dive site that's so close.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
But it's twofold, isn't it? If you had a sea dive planned and you got blown out, you can just bomb burst straight back to Lanzarote and get in.
Well, like 100%, it makes you a better diver of the visibility and stuff like that. I always say to people, because we teach in dry suits, it's cold, and the visibility isn't fantastic all the time. But then when they're going abroad, if they are nervous, because they can see really far, or because they are then wearing a shorty, it's then easier anyway. So it's kind of balancing out those things then. So so everyone should learn in the UK. That's the
I tell you what, I was cold on Friday morning because I forgot to zip up my dry suit undersuit.
Yeah, that's always a problem. So at least you remember to zip up your dry suit though.
Well,
so.
I have done that before. I have jumped in, and my first one, I think it was a Northern Diver commercial one, and it had like a pea zip just across the front. And as you do, go to the toilet in between because I like a good cup of tea and that. Anyway, jump back in, and it was about January, so you can imagine temperature's about 4 degrees. And I had the most shrill, like 11-year-old boys yell you've ever heard in your life. Not much water got in because I jumped straight back out, but yeah, that was quite fun.
Yeah, I bet you didn't do it again though.
No, I think that's the best thing, though, isn't it? Make a mistake and learn from it, rather than being just this arrogant idiot that just keeps making mistakes. Saying you're not infallible, are we? So have you got planned what's coming up, training-wise, or trips? Have you got any good ones coming up that you can plan? That's the other thing, isn't it? You can't plan anything, really.
Yeah, we have got loads of stuff booked in. Like, tons of different courses. That's another thing at Vivian as well that I really like, is that we never really seem to do the same thing all the time. So there's always different specialty courses. Side mount, full face mask, dry suit, or whatever. And then all of the kind of core courses as well. So we've got an IDC that's booked in next month and September. So that'll be pretty cool as well to get back into some instructor training. And then the shore dives. So all the different bays around here, Menai, where you went the other day, Cable Bay, Newry Beach, What You Scaddon, all those different ones as well. So nice to be back and see what's kind of changed in them as well. So it's been 6 months. Yeah.
Are the campsites opening? Have you got a sort of date for that? Do you know?
As far as I know, self-contained accommodations open now. So that opened on yesterday, so that was when we planned the first shore dive for when the accommodation was open, but most people travelled in for day trips, and because the UK, England, is open, they travel back somewhere there to stay, but I'm pretty sure it is sometime this month that campsites are planned to open. I think a lot of the stuff is up online as well, so there is like links that you can follow and stuff. We've been putting announcements out, but it'll be good to see people back, especially we have loads of people that travel from all over the UK, which we're quite fortunate in. So it'll be really good to see some people that we've not seen in a very long time.
I tell you what, I flipping love camping, me, and the amount of trips that a few people I know have planned, and they just want to stay at that, the Anglesey Adventure Centre or whatever it is, right up.
All right, okay, yeah.
And it's like, come on, get out, let's camp under the stars, and because I think it's a totally different sort of experience if you can breathe fresh air, or even the smoke off a little fire because you're doing, a barbecue or.
I have marshmallows on though, so.
Yeah, absolutely. But
camping's good. Camping's as long as your tent's dry, so it doesn't blow away. Then camping is.
There is that, yeah.
Although diving is nothing better than a nice warm shower. So.
Well, that's it. If you can't, if they're not open, if the shower block's not open, we're goosed, don't we? So we found that actually. We went to Beaumaris after we'd been with you on Friday. Went for an ice cream and that, and then we ended up staying a bit longer because it was nice and we had a wander around and got a chippy for our tea for our dinner. I get told off for calling dinner tea. And And but none of the loos or anything are open, so they're like trying to
Like,
encourage
but
us.
TPT is a proper like Yorkshire like thing. Never go and carry on.
Yorkshire. How would you know,
Yeah.
Scouser? Fish on a Friday, innit?
Yeah, like Yorkshire, Lancashire.
Mm. So why have you not changed from Darwin to somewhere nearer to you? Have you got like some ties still in Darwin, or can you not? Or what's the script?
Yeah, I looked at transferring actually.
Yeah.
Um, I did have a transfer in. I don't know. I like. I still know quite a lot of people around there. I do like my station as
Yeah.
well. Um, Hopefully, I'm pretty convinced that they won't listen to me on here because they're my station, so I can say that I like them. Yeah.
I like them loads.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like I've been there for 10 years.
No, I suppose there's that camaraderie that you might not get if you go elsewhere, I suppose. Did you have anything to do with the fires on the Pennines? Was that
Yeah,
anything? Did you jump
yeah.
on the moors last year? Was it last year or year before?
There was actually some this year, and then there was 2 years ago as well.
Right. And were they? Were they pretty bad?
It's never good as well with all of the. But I think this is a diving thing as well, like caring about like wildlife and stuff like that. So it's always something that bothers me, like going up there and all of the like devastation, I guess, that it causes. It's not good.
I think one of the first times I ever spoke to you was probably over Facebook. You were running a trip, and it was either to the Red Sea or Malta. It might be another guy I spoke to. I can't remember. But do you do them quite regularly, where you take groups away?
Yeah. So I'm actually supposed to be in the Maldives right now as well. So thanks for bringing that up. So I actually wanted to do a trip with loads of manta rays forever since I started diving, and I finally got around to booking it this year. And then obviously now we're not there. But like I'd much prefer to be sat in my kitchen and Anglesey talking to you. So.
Oh, thanks so much. I feel validated now. Cheers.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we do quite a lot of trips. We do. We kind of fell into doing a couple of the same ones each year as well now, which is quite nice because we see the same people there as well abroad with the dive centres. So we do a trip to Iceland each year.
That was what it was. We'd spoke about that about 2 or 3 years ago, and I can't remember what it was. I could look back and tell you honestly what it was, but it would have been genuinely why we didn't go. It would have been like just told you a load of lies.
Yeah, well, never mind. Hey, so. Yeah, no, we do Silfra, so we've done that. We've probably done Silfra for the past 6 years now, which is an amazing dive site. So it's really nice to take people to. So yeah, we do that in like March, April. We always tend to kind of do like a weekend break to Lanzarote, where we've been there.
We went in January. I loved it. Yeah,
it's really good. It's some like pretty easy diving, but there's some really good sites you can just drop off to straight away and get the deck, which is really good.
Did you do the old Harbour Wrecks?
Yeah. So and the cathedral and all that kind of thing are really cool.
How do you get? This is what I want to know, because my mate lives on Forteventura and he met us in Lanzarote and we stayed wherever we stayed. He brought all his stuff over. We just took our wings and fins and that was it really. But he's only dived it a couple of times. So we got in. You park on the back of the harbour. And there's like a little shore entry, and it's like a 25-minute swim out. And I'm like, mate, there's got to be an easier way than this, short of getting a boat to like safari divers or someone take you out. So how do you normally get into there?
You can go off like a couple of. It depends where you were. So like, where were you getting in?
So on the back of like, is it called the Old Town Harbour Wrecks or Old Town Harbour? Yeah. So you've got like there's an Irish bar just across the way, and there's a big sort of open plan car park there. We parked on that. So if you're looking out to sea with the Irish bar behind you as such, over on the left, there's like a little gap in the wall, and then there's like all restaurants that kind of go up and around, and there's a little shore entry, like a beach entry just there, which is okay to be fair. It's a bit of a step down, a bit of a climb down. You've got to pass your cylinders off. Yeah. But then you swim all the way along the harbour wall, right to the end of it, where the wrecks are. Which is like a good 25 minutes, half an hour, and by the time you get there, you're goosed.
So I've got some really good friends in Lanzarote, and they take me. So I could like give shout outs to people, couldn't I?
Do it, go for it. Who do you want to say hello to?
I don't know. Actually, one of my friends who talking about like going to places. So we're saying like Iceland, Lanzarote, all those ones that we go to. We also do a trip to Gozo as well each year. But again, like we were talking about before about like the course director course and having people, knowing people worldwide and stuff. But it's definitely one of the most amazing things in diving is that you do generally know somebody at how small of a community diving is, and generally know people that you could pretty much get dropped off most places in the world and know somebody. So after I'd done my open water course, I went to Lanzarote and met a friend called Pia. So I say hi, Pia. So and I thought I'll make her listen to the podcast now. But yeah, so I don't really see her very often because of obviously the distance and things like that. But like drop a message every now and again, and it's always the same when you meet up, which I think divers are generally like that you just kind of get on and all have the same kind of like interests and things. So so that's definitely one of the most amazing things about diving is that you can meet some fantastic
I'll agree with that. I mean, obviously I've done quite a bit of diving through the army, so I've been to several different places with maybe a dozen or so different people that I don't see on the next trip. But even just through doing this podcast, I've recorded, I think you'll be like episode 15 or 16. But every time I spoke to someone...
Kind of a little bit gutted that I wasn't asked first, but go on, continue.
Well, what you've got to bear in mind is that you were on before everybody else, weren't you? On a different episode. So
that's true. Yeah,
so as it doesn't get stale, having the same person on all the time. I wanted to leave a bit of gap. And then it was kind of fresh. That's why I kind of went, bye, on Friday, because I want to look surprised when I talk to you.
Are you married, by the way?
I am married, yeah.
You're really good at digging yourself out of a hole. So.
Absolutely, great at it. So what we're talking about, so the networking side of things, certainly when I've been doing the podcast, so 14 or 15 episodes in, I normally say to someone at the end, who could you put me in touch with, that I could continue this conversation sort of in the lines of that or whatever. And it has led on to somebody new every now and again. So a guy in New Zealand who runs another podcast, a guy at the other side of Canada, even a guy who I met 4 years ago from Portugal. He saw that I was doing this and he said, "Oh mate, get us on. I'll talk about sharks all night." So it was great, to have a good catch up. Yeah.
It's just, and as well, like we have people at when they come diving at Vivian or whatever, and I think like somebody, whatever it was I was teaching, ended up knowing one of the people who lived in Canada who was on my course director course that they were taught by them. He was from like Canada over that way anyway, but it's just mad how people do generally know each other. Or you'll come across somebody and be like, "Oh, do you know such and such from like Malaysia?" It's like, what? So it's such like a vast community, but so small
world, isn't it?
Well, so I think like I was saying, that is one of the definitely the best things that I think about diving as well, and the travel, and it opens so many new doors of doing stuff. Like people doing instructor courses, and they can pretty much turn up anywhere in the world and probably get a job. I don't think there's many careers or jobs or something that offer you them kind of opportunities that diving does.
No, well, to pick on something you said earlier about how people talk about there's no money in diving, I suppose it depends where you are on that scale. I've heard a conversation a while ago where people were saying how like labourers in let's say in a factory don't earn as much as the directors do. Well, it's perhaps because all the risk, let's say the directors are the ones that actually own it and they've put all the money in, the risk is all with them, isn't it? Whereas the risk is all with you owning a dive site and owning a dive school and whatever. Whereas the actual instructor, there's perhaps less risk, therefore there's not as much reward. But if you then look at it on the flip side, the work-life balance, you're in the sea every day, you're seeing orcas, you're seeing dolphins, you're doing what you love. And passing that passion and that knowledge that you've gained on. So how much more reward, other than loads and loads of extra money, could you have if you're going to look at it for that? There's a good balance to say.
Yeah, I get what you mean. And
Unless you're going to come on and go, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah, I'm really not. So. Yeah, I get what you mean about like, but then again, that's why where I kind of spoke about before about trying to like put it down into a basic few steps that you could literally set up a dive centre from your house with a trailer, and get those kind of rewards.
There seems to be a lot doing it. Certainly when you turn up at Cape and Ray, there's loads of different vans turn up called this, that, and the other divers.
Yeah.
I mean, I've not looked into them because I perhaps don't feel like I'm in need of that.
Yeah.
But I've certainly.
That people are giving it a go though.
Yeah.
So, which I put a program together for well, we've kind of ran it for like probably about a year and a half now of like a kind of like instructor development kind of thing that people can sign up to, and we can help them. So they basically do their instructor course, and then they kind of get some ongoing guidance then that they kind of sign into, so they can kind of get
like a mentorship kind of thing.
Yeah, basically like assistance with paperwork. They can come and use Vivian, they can use equipment to try and take out all of the kind of things that I had to kind of have as barriers when I started. So giving people like reduced fees entry into Vivian, but doing it so that there was the way that we were kind of getting funding from it back from them is from a percentage of what they were doing, so they weren't tied into having to pay for stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's encouraged quite a few people doing it. There are so many people that do have those kind of lines thrown at them that do put people off, and it's a massive shame because I did it, so people can do it.
It's doable, isn't it? It's just, you've got to. I always, as a kid, I'd always had this want to do something, like run my own business, but I didn't know exactly what it was, and I never had that focus or the guidance or the mentorship. And I was about 30 when I started my business. It's still going now. I'm doing really well. I'm doing well enough to afford my house and afford the life that I live.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish I'd have had that mentorship from someone at an earlier age, so I could have had that right direction put in and missed a few of the steps. But it's a journey that when you get on it, you never know. But I think where it's going to end up. But I think you've got to go sort of all or not bother. And if it's going to work attitude rather than...
Like, anyone can do it, though. They're saying about, like, the age thing. And I really don't think age plays any part in whether people are successful or anything either. And especially with scuba diving, where there aren't... you kind of touched upon the fact of doing, like... when I was 24, like, course director course or starting a business, tons of times had people turning around saying, oh, like, where's the instructor? When are they going to turn up? And that kind of thing. And I appreciate that I do look about like 16 and should still get ID'd for lottery tickets and stuff. So,
genuinely. Let me ask you now, what's the worst thing you've ever been ID'd for?
I got ID'd for an air horn, like probably not even that long ago. It was probably about 3 years ago. I actually had to get my mum.
That's amazing.
So in one of our acts, and this woman who, like literally told me it had to be 16 to buy an air horn, which is fine because I'm like 28. So,
that's
and then
pretty good though.
Tell it to my mum because she knew she was giving it to me. So That's anyway, awesome. You can edit that bit out if you want.
Because you mentioned it earlier, full face mask course.
Yeah.
So I'd seen someone had posted on, I want to say Scuba Diving Uncensored, which is the most horrendous page, depending how you view it. But anyway, someone had asked about what kind of mask or what do you do if you've got a tash?
Yeah.
Because obviously it doesn't seal very well. And I know a few of my mates put Vaseline on so they look a bit weird. I just literally get my razor and just under my nostrils a little bit and it's absolutely perfect, unless my hood's trapped in the top, like I told you before. But how would you get on? And you must be an expert, like you just said, you just squared your beard away. With a full face mask sealing, if you've got a beard, can you?
It'll seal better because it's positive pressure on your face.
Yeah. Like,
it's really hard to get a full face mask to leak. They are pretty amazing for that. And they're so much warmer. Like, we use them, obviously you can use comms with them as well. Mm. So we use ours on the boat quite a lot, probably to my mum's detriment, but then I can still communicate with her under the water.
Does she dive?
Yeah, she does. Yeah. So not so much around here now, just because she does the boat and servicing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I normally get like a cutting out as we're going through, which isn't. It's just because she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. But yeah, so they're great for that. So when we're doing like safety stops and stuff, we're about to come up, then we can check that there's no boats around and stuff like that. So yeah, they are really cool. If you give them a plus, like you get to sound like Darth Vader. So what more could you want to do?
Would it be your preference if you had the choice to dive with or without a full face? Would you prefer one?
I like both, but yeah, especially like on the instructor courses or when we're doing something that is on the platform, you can just talk people through stuff instead. So I think it really helps with nerves as well. So you can get a receiver and just get them to actually listen to what you're talking about.
All right.
We've also used them quite a lot around if we're doing like tours around wrecks and stuff, and kind of doing it as like a historic talk and stuff to talk about like this is the engine room or whatever, and doing that as well. So yeah, it's yeah, pretty cool. But it's obviously like with everything with diving, it's a personal preference of what people like to use. So
I've not used one myself yet, but I'll probably say this to everyone I've had on. I absolutely, really mega struggle with the cold in the water. Just
yeah, they are really good for that.
I mean, obviously it helps when you do your undersuit up. I get that, but my face is probably the last frontier to try and keep warm. So if a full face is the future for winter diving for me, then that's what I'm going to.
Yeah, you should try it next time that you come. So yeah, they are a lot warmer.
What's the crack with sort of the redundancy for that? Do you just carry a spur mask and a normal sort of octo come?
Yeah, so you just revert back to normal diving to keep your spare mask with you, and you've got your octo anyway. So you can just ditch your mask, put your mask on, and end the dive.
I can't get over how expensive they are.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like reduced in price a lot now from what they used to. So
I saw one recently, and it literally just looked like it was out of a sex shop. You know, you literally take your mouthpiece off your second stage and fit that to it.
Yeah, are we still talking about diving equipment, aren't we? Yeah.
Absolutely, 100% talking about diving.
That changed to some like late night show with Andy or something.
I haven't got a dive mask. Okay. But yeah, almost like a normal mask with an extension that came around to your chin and a hole where you would just shove second stage in. And I thought, 300 quid?
Yeah, I think so there's different types though. So like the one that we're talking about is an integrated dive mask. Diving, that's another thing as well, diving full of all new and different experiences all the time. Like another thing to love about it as well. So whatever your kind of interests are, there's always something new.
So I need a couple of things from you. If you find any cheap houses going on Anglesey that's near the sea, I need to know about it quick so I can sell my house and we're moving over.
Cause it's because you really enjoyed my chat and you want to.
It's not only that. It's the fact that it's beautiful over there as well. And now me and Ali have got a new Bezio in you and your mum. Even though I got a bollocking off your mum, did she tell you?
No.
Yeah, apparently. So this is my interpretation of the story. So I said to Ali, just go and check out what we need to do. As in, do we need to book in? Do we need to let anyone know anything? Where do we park? How much is it? And so Ali went over and just asked about the parking. So we parked up. All the kit was already laid out, just as you where the entrance to the water is. So we just went on our merry little way, got in the water, did what we did, came out, went straight back to the van.
Yeah, so you didn't say that you got out. Is this what you're going to say?
Yeah, so we got a baker butty in the van, made a brew, and then came back for a chat with you and your mum. Obviously, you were teaching, so we didn't really get that. And had a chat with your mum, who thought we thought you was your sister. Lucky mum. And then she went, so you never told us when you got out? I'm like, I never knew. I asked my wife to go and sort all that out. And I thought...
You take it very seriously with our regulations.
Yeah, so I had my wrists slapped for not knowing the rules.
As well the other day, so.
Say again?
So you met my dog as well the other day, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So how old's your dog?
He's 11 now.
So we're looking at getting a dog, but we've got 2 rabbits and a cat, and Ali's thinking of getting another cat.
Yeah, I've got 2. I've got 2 cats now as well. So I got 2 cats. I also ended up getting 4 ducks.
That's kind of cool. Do you have the eggs?
That's actually a dive centre story, so I could have spoken about that to you.
Come on,
as well.
then, do it. Tell me now, and I'll edit it in. See, so I heard you've got some ducks, Claire.
I have, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there were some ducks that ran Vivian, and two of them ended up. The compressor wasn't on, by the way, but this buzzard came around flying anyway, and it ate all its little
they're in the trees, aren't they, over the way?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So anyway, these two little ducklings had gone and hid in the compressor. So when I was outside, I heard quacking.
Go on, do it. Make a quack noise.
No. So I found these two ducks, which were then covered in oil, and phoned up the RSPCA, and basically told me that if I let them go, they'd die. So I felt really guilty, and just ended up bringing them home. And my intention was to release them back, but they literally follow me around everywhere, and they go up with my dog. So I'm pretty sure that they get eaten by fox. So I called them Coltree and Thor. Coltree because it was in my Coltree compressor, and Thor because he was kind of hard. So, so I got those two ducks, and then I ended up getting two other ones this year to go with them.
Nice one.
I now own ducks, so that's how that kind of happened. Everything that's kind of happened with diving is kind of just appeared and whatever.
Sometimes that's good because I think things are presented to us. I'm a big believer in karma, and I'm not a religious kind of person, but I do believe that certain things are put in front of you as either a milestone or a hurdle, and it's not. You shouldn't try and get round. You should try and get over them, and it gripes me because I've got three girls, three daughters, 21, 20, and 16. And each and every one of them will always try and find the easy route. Yeah. Whereas I think the harder route's often more rewarding and beneficial. Yeah. And it pains me to watch them do that.
Grasp the things that are thrown in front of you. Otherwise, things like, did you see us on Coast and Country the other year?
No, I don't think I did. No.
Just work for Coast and Country. We've actually done quite a lot of filming work for some places as well. And did some presenting for Coast and Country North Wales. And those kind of things. I don't really know how they kind of happened, but they did, and you've kind of got to snatch the opportunity and go along with it. So, and it's kind of paid off so far. So, Well,
even doing stuff like this, or whether it be that Coast and Country or whatever, it's about getting you in front of someone that you wouldn't be in front of before, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And who knows where that then opens up. Like for me, like I said, I've spoke to a guy in New Zealand, spoke to a guy in Canada, so I could just drop on. Oh, we're over in Vancouver this weekend, as you do. Fancy a dive, mate. So
it's always welcome to come and see us in Wales anyway. So
mega. Well, like I said, it's a regular haunt for us. Not as regular as I'd like because there's always work and there's always other things that get in the way. But certainly because it's definitely day dashable. It's 2 hours. So although it was a bit of a grueler getting in at 12:30 Saturday morning and having to wash all kit down, and then I found out Ali's torch is flipping leaked.
Oh really?
Right.
It's an excuse to get a new one though.
Well, but it's kind of might be my fault, so I've got to buy the new one.
Oh well, that worked out well for her then. So.
Well, it will do because she's got to have a good one, so it's definitely going to be better than what she had. Right then, let's wrap it up. So thanks for coming on. I hope it's not been too stressful like when we came and accosted you at the dive show and went, tell us 3 answers. And you're like, come back in an hour and I'll give you an answer.
Probably something good. So and I didn't do that. So
no, I think you did. I think we were quite successful. I think in hitting 4 different angles. So from someone who would always plan one to take people away, as opposed to just someone who went away, and then we got the insurance aspect, and then someone who'd do it more of proper hardcore. Monty Halls was saying, get a compressor, throw it in the back of your van, fill it with all your kit, and go and travel up to Scandinavia. Fucking hell, mate! I was just thinking going to Cyprus or something. So it did. I think it definitely. I could do it better next time because I perhaps have a more used to doing this kind of chat that we're doing now. But it worked well for what I wanted, I think. So it was great. Right, I'm gonna go get me dinner.
Good.
What have you got on tonight? Anything?
I don't know yet. I'm not too sure actually. So yeah, hopefully I've not bored you too much though. So
No, it's been great, mate. Honest.
yeah, well you didn't disappear when I disappeared
No.
off Wi-Fi.
So
So
what are you doing this Saturday in respect to diving? Are you on the coast somewhere? Or are you in Vivian? Do you know?
we are at Vivian
All
this
right.
weekend. Yeah, so quite a few training dives booked in all the weekends.
Well,
So
if we get blown out, I'll come. We'll pop in and see if we can get in.
definitely,
But
yeah,
we'll
come
we'll
over.
book it on way rather than just rock up and go, "Hi, can we get in?"
Yeah, no problem.
Mega mate, right? Well, thanks for your time. I've
Okay.
said it about a million times. Nice one. Have a good evening. I'll see you soon.
Very welcome. Take care, Andy.
Ciao, mate. Bye bye. That brings us to an end of episode 16 with Clare Dutton. Links to all the things we discussed are in the podcast notes. My guest on episode 17 is Lewis Marinucci, a scuba diver and merman from Philadelphia in America. He talks about how his autism affects his plans to be a diver. You've been listening to Are You a Scuba Diver? Fancy a Brew podcast with me, Andy the Northern Diver. You can find more scuba related content on my YouTube channel. The link is in the podcast notes. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. If there's someone or something you'd like to discuss, then let us know via the Facebook page. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one.